This episode is brought to you by Cube Gallery, a progressive art space in Cebu, Philippines, providing network and exhibit opportunities for contemporary artists with whom they work closely with and promote beyond the local reach. Exhibitions on view: Sio Montera's Homecoming exhibition entitled Finding the Calm in the Chaos, curated by Ricky Francisco. And Vecindad by Impressionist artist Jose Maripe Cornell. The gallery is open on Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. For viewing or to request a catalog, contact Pia at 0918-807-4175. Cube Gallery also presents its exclusive online anniversary show, playfully titled Past the 7-Year Itch. Despite this playfulness, this show recalls the past exhibitions of a no longer fledgling art gallery. Referenced in popular culture, the 7-year itch refers to the period of unrest that comes after trials, false starts, reboots, and introspection to arrive at the realization that the question, what's next, needs to be addressed. This show is not only a reminder of all that is good, but also a commitment to stay on course. Mindful of the gallery's significant contributions to the Southern Philippine contemporary art landscape. Access the online exhibition on artsy.net/cube-gallery. This podcast is brought to you by Destination Specialists, one of the longest-standing travel agencies in Cebu, Philippines. For all your travel needs, I go to Destination Specialists. So my friends joke that I've never bought a ticket, not online, not over the counter. I just call Destination Specialists. It's easy. I call them at 231-2461, or I visit their website at destinationcebu.com and send them an email. They have 2 branches. One is in the upper ground floor of SM City Cebu, and another one is in the second level of Banilad Town Center above Dim Sum Break. So take a trip with Destination Specialists. And if you're not taking a trip and you want to live a little while at home, you can check out their social media. They have a beautiful Instagram page, Destination Specialists, at Destination Specialists. And for inquiries, head over to Destination Cebu or follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/Destination Specialists. Take a trip. Use Destination Specialists. Let's get to the show. Welcome to Zerothreetwo Conversations, the podcast where we talk to creatives, see how they live, and how they do their work. I'm your host, Carlo Villarica. And happy Valentine's Day. All right, this is coming out on Tuesday, actually 3 days before Valentine's, but still, it's almost Valentine's Day, so I think it's appropriate. It's appropriate to give you guys that greeting. It's been raining a lot lately, and happy to have good coffee while it rains. Although currently recording this Monday afternoon, and sun's shining a little bit, so that's good. But because of the rain, I've missed a couple of bike rides, which sucks. Yeah, it's not fun waking up early at 5 a.m. in the morning and then looking out the window, and then you just hear the rain coming down, and then you hope it's not so bad, and you hope it's gonna get a little bit better. So you sit there for a few more minutes in the hopes that the rain's just going to disappear. But it doesn't. It just becomes harder and harder and harder, and the rain just keeps going and going and going. So that sucks. There's nothing worse than that. Man, yeah. And I'm already up, and I don't really feel like sleeping. So I don't want to go back to sleep. So I don't know. I just sit there, look at my phone. Maybe I'll post a picture. Rain sucks. Yeah. So that's that. So I'm recording this Monday afternoon. It doesn't feel like a very efficient day. It feels like I'll do something then there's an interruption, and then I come back to my computer to try to figure out what it was I was doing, and I can't figure it out. So I find myself just like looking through different tabs on my browser, sometimes going back to Facebook, sometimes going back to email, sometimes seeing a video that pops off. It doesn't feel like a very efficient day. Facebook is amazing. Like, all you need to do is go to that website and somehow it finds a way to suck you in for an extra whatever. Like sometimes I'll just check if I have messages, or notifications, and then all of a sudden I'm there for 20 minutes. 20 minutes my day. Crazy. As soon as you scroll down and there's like a video of whatever that grabs your attention, and bam, you're stuck on Facebook. Yeah. There must be a way to... I mean, to be fair, I don't feel like it has a huge control over me. I feel like I have a pretty good sense of not using social media, especially like if I'm in a dinner situation or like with friends. I try not to use my phone. I try to keep it away. Don't use it. Avoid that fact. And in fact, if I go to a table and everybody's on their phones, I will very likely, jokingly, point it out. But yeah, man, Facebook, social media, what a way to waste time. This is what I feel like I somehow my Monday today, it's been derailed in so many ways. But glad to find the time to record this little intro for this episode because, gotta do this. This is the 102nd episode of the podcast. That's crazy. Crazy. And if you've listened to a lot of these episodes, if you've listened to a bunch of them, consider supporting this podcast on patreon.com. It's patreon.com/Zerothreetwo. And this is one of the best ways for you to show your support. We have some exclusive content there, but I'm going to put more exclusive content if we find more Patreon subscribers. And depending on what tier you choose to support, you even get free merchandise exclusive to Zerothreetwo Patreon members. So head over to patreon.com/Zerothreetwo. That's 032 in letters, and I'll link in the show notes if you want to look for it. And that is the best way to support the podcast. And in this episode of 032 Conversations, we talked to Phil Bawasanta, or more popularly known as Philtomato. He's an artist, a really good artist. I first saw him in one of those videos, the video series by Zeke Sullano, called In Your Element. And I saw that he interviewed some guy. His name's Phil Bawasanta. And I was watching the interview. I was like, oh, this guy's kind of interesting. So I checked him out on Instagram. His beautiful artwork, man. Like, beautiful artwork. So I gave him a follow. And I noticed that whenever he posts something, I felt like I was paying attention to the posts. So that's like an indicator for me of like, oh, I think there's something here, And after talking to Phil, it was strange in a way because, okay, first, I've never met him, so that was the first time to meet him. And the other thing was, there was this parallel to sports it wasn't something that I was expecting. So we talk about that in the episode, more on that in our conversation. So yeah, I mean, if anything, if you're on your phone, check out his Instagram at Philtomato, Philtomato. You'll see what I'm talking about. And we talk about his artwork that's there and his whole process. And even if you're not into art, you can get something out of it. And if this is your first time to listen to 032 Conversations, please subscribe. We have a new episode every Tuesday. Okay, here's the conversation with Philtomato.
No. It's more of a I drink to sleep, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Because I sleep during the mornings because most of my schedule is like I don't belong this time zone. So like most of the people that follow me are from just outside the country, basically. Nobody knows me here in Cebu.
So wait. So you're like up late at night? Are you like dealing with clients or what? Or just doing like...
I do deal with clients I'm working with people from North Carolina. We're making a game right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and right now I'm talking to a French guy. And we're going to make a book series. I don't know if you remember this, because back in the day, there was a thing that soldiers had when they went to the trenches, you know. They were called the Tijuana Bibles. So the Tijuana Bibles were basically hand-drawn porn.
Really?
Yeah, so back in the day, so people are like, hey, Joe, here's a booklet for you to fap on when you're in the trenches. Sorry if I could say fap or whatever.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
So it was really cool, man, because so back in the day, they would create like drawings of Betty Boop, but she would be all naked and stuff. They would be passed around like, you know, I'll give you this booklet if you give me some cigars. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of... Well, we'll talk about your style, but like the one I see on Instagram, there's it's very close to like some of it is very close to that already.
Yes, because it's one thing I noticed about the art world is it's all saturated with anime. Like everywhere you go, it's all anime, shiny, big boobs, you know, big butts. If you go to like in my world, I don't know about yours, but I have artist friends too. And they always post about art. There are major artists like Sakimichan, and she's one of those people who are really well known for drawing really voluptuous women. They're like really hot, you know, with high schools would fawn over 'em. But in my case, I want to bring back that old school art appeal, because there used to be an artist called Fred Moore, right? Back in the Disney days, he used to be the one who would draw the centaurs in Fantasia. He used to draw Tinkerbell.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So those old school Tex Avery cartoons, like that's my world. So I'm bringing back that art style because you don't see that a lot anymore. So one of the reasons why my art style is quote unquote appealing to a lot of people is because there's something there. It's like it kind of jolts you back. Like I've seen this art style before in my childhood. Not a lot of people are doing that now. So I'm actually trying to do that kind of art, very heavily gestural, very sensual, because there's more to making a woman sensual than just drawing her big boobs and everything.
The obvious stuff.
Yeah. So there's sensuality in the way she poses, the way her shoulder tilts, the way the kneecaps look, the way she stands. So that's what I'm trying to bring to the art table right now.
Because, wait, one last thing. Also for levels, can you state your name and what you do?
Hi, I'm Philtomato, and I'm an artist.
All right, so I might cut that out. But I already mentioned this to you. So I saw you in an interview with
Zeke, my good boy Zeke, yeah.
In your element, and I was like, I checked out your work, and it was... Yeah, I was looking at it, and then there was something about it that just seemed really different. Like, to my eyes, really different. Like, I'm not a connoisseur or anything, you know. I mean, I just like, oh, this is cool. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing this on my feed, right? And so just give it a follow. And then I don't know what it is about it. Like, I can't verbalize why it seems different.
Right? It's because whenever I try to draw, there's always movement in it. It's one of the long-lost things that artists nowadays don't apply to their art, which is gesture work. So gesture is basically, like to break it down to people, gesture is when you draw something and there's a sense of movement and flow to the art piece. So if you apply that you can apply that to everything. You can apply that to a rock. You can apply that to a tree. So if you apply that to a woman's body figure, it accentuates what they do. Like when they're just sitting down, the way their hand poses on the ground, it's just really fascinating to look at. You know, it's like a symphony almost when you draw it. Oh God, I'm sounding really pretentious in this podcast. Like a symphony in the art.
No,
you know?
but this is where to do it. Wait, so as you sat there,
yeah,
and And then you asked me, I don't know if I caught it on the mic, but you asked me if you could draw while we're talking.
Yeah.
And you said, like, this is a habit.
Yeah.
So you do this often?
Yeah, like, I got in trouble once because I wasn't awake and I just drew. Like, so just pay attention to the... Oh, I'm so sorry. It's just, uncontrollably, I always try to create things. Because before I did this, like, I don't know if I have ADHD, man. I'm always wanted to create things. I used to have this group in Cebu. It's called RedHabagat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Red. I remember that.
I started it.
Was it like video?
Yeah. We used to create video skits before it was popular. We were hipsters. So I started RedHabagat. I used to write songs and I used to create skits. So it was like my outlet to create art. So I created videos. And I was like, we broke. It's not like we broke up. We're still friends. We still drink. I drank with him this week. But, life gets in the way. People have kids and everything. And I'm usually there like, hey, wake up. Or like, let's get drunk and make videos. And they'd be like, I can't, man. I have work. I have school. And I get sad if I don't create stuff. I think that's just me,
So, like, while having... No, but, like, right now, like you're... This is... what you're doing right now is something I cannot do.
Just
so, like, you're...
Have a conversation while drawing at the same time.
We're really doing two things at the same time.
Basically, yeah. No, three things. Like, a lot of things because I'm thinking about the pose and the gesture and the lighting and everything. So this is something you do, like having like you can have a conversation with somebody and draw at the same time. I multitask. Like whenever I draw, I always have like a movie going, set to quiet, and I have music blasting while I'm drawing, while I'm chatting.
Really?
Yeah, it's something that keeps my mind calm, because if I don't do anything, my brain is just really noisy. It's just like like when it's like hearing static if it's too quiet. I gotta do something and I gotta watch something to stimulate my brain. I think like ADHD or something.
No, I remember when I was a kid, I was like that. Like I couldn't sleep without music on.
Yeah,
I just turn on the music in the background and then I would listen and try to sleep while listening to the music. But later on, I found out that at first it was difficult because I found out that it's probably better not to keep it on.
Yeah.
But like I'll do little like obviously I'm recording a podcast right now, but one of the things that I do is like I listen to the podcast. If I'm by myself doing anything, I'll listen to a podcast because I just want to hear it in the background.
Dude, you listen to Joe Rogan?
Oh yeah, I listen to Joe Rogan.
Religiously, I listen to him, man.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, got in trouble after recently he was endorsing Bernie Sanders and everything.
Oh yeah, he interviewed Bernie Sanders.
He did, and recently CNN was like using his clip endorsing Bernie Sanders, and he was like, I like the guy, and CNN like created a hit piece on him. CNN really fell off the bandwagon, man. Like Joe Rogan is a homophobic person who endorses Bernie Sanders. I don't want to get too political on this, but it's just really fascinating.
That is the problem with a lot of mainstream media. They don't have... One of the reasons why I like the podcast format is you can just talk about something and then there's context about what you talk about.
What the thing is, because of how the world works right now, you like when you're an article writer, you have to have people watch your articles, and the only way it's like a really counterproductive thing that they're doing right now. It's like you have to create an article that's clickbaity, homophobic, and those keywords, and Joe Rogan, Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump. If there are like they're given keywords, by the way. I was talking to like a guy who creates articles for like IGN, like a gaming company, and he's like, dude, like we can't write anything we want because we need to write something that people click to, and that's why like it's really common. Like if you would see on Facebook, like you would see like doctors recently discovered a cure for this, and like how do you grow your penis? Click here to find out. Those kinds of pieces, but because if you just create pieces like cat walks on the street, like nobody clicks on that.
No, the title has to be compelling. In fact, that's what I try to do even with the interview. So sometimes like
number 8 will startle you.
No, like I'll do the interview in the podcast, right? And then I have a title. And then usually that title from the podcast, I might get it from the I usually get it from the conversation, but it might be like a 5-minute portion of an hour conversation.
Pretty much.
I want people to like give it a listen. Like, as long as you give me that click, and I think you will enjoy it if you, eventually get to, like, really, I don't know, like the 30-minute mark or something. Well, that's the thing with podcasts, though.
Yeah, yeah.
You end up listening to the whole thing.
Pretty much.
No, and then, I don't know, man. So, wait. So, you're doing it right now. So, there was an interesting thing in that interview with Zeke that you said, in 2016, you started to do art every day. You want to do art every day for the rest of your life?
That's really daunting to think about. But yes, like in 2016, like I was like one of those artists, when I post something like nobody likes it, basically. Like I was, when you are a kind of person who creates something, you need a validation, I guess. Like whenever you do podcasts, whenever you do music, like you get that validation if people like it, When it comes to art, it's the same thing. Like if it's really appealing to look at, you get like that endorphin high of like, oh, I got a like. So I really tried to figure out what makes an art piece really appealing. So for 4 years, 4 or 5 years now. So I started drawing each and every day. So I listened to podcasts like, you put in the time, kind of like sports, like you can't get better if you don't put in the time. So that's what I did for 5 years, 4 years, 12 hours a day, just doing art, doing nothing but art.
Really? Researching
how it is to, I'm those kinds of people like I listened to like Michael V talking about how it is to become a better person.
Michael V.
He's not Michael Valenciano. Gary V.
Gary
Michael,
Vaynerchuk.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
So he's the guy who always talks about how to be productive. And I watched C.T. Fletcher, talking about pain is temporary, You need to apply that. And then I'm like, yeah, pain is temporary. And it doesn't really translate well to art. Like, yeah, I need to draw faster.
Approach
it is. But, like, I watched this, this short movie clip. It's called Rise and Shine, The son's, he's a guy talking in like a really deep voice, like, oh, it's biting you at the back of your head. And there's a video of like people running really fast and me on my table, like, yeah, time is nipping at the back of my head. I need to draw faster and better.
So you're getting hyped up.
I'm getting hyped up just on my table, like, yeah, I need to draw better. So I do that. So I draw a lot. And I also, from the jock approach, I also apply a really zen approach to it. So there's this guy in Japan. He's Jiro. I don't know if you watched the documentary.
The Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Yes, Jiro Dreams of Sushi. And he's a guy, he's almost close to 90 years old. He does the same thing every day. But the main difference is everything he does, everything new he does, he always tries to make it better than the previous thing. And it's a kind of mindset wherein if you apply that to your art, it doesn't matter, like, you have to create art each and every day. Don't focus on making it good. Only focus on putting yourself out there so that you can move on to the next thing. So in Japan, they have this word, it's called Kaizen. Mm-hmm. I think I mentioned this in Zeke's podcast.
Yeah.
Kaizen is the never-ending pursuit of unattainable perfection. So if you apply that to your art, don't focus on trying to create the perfect thing, the perfect music, the perfect podcast, but just keep, putting stuff out there. Your skill will catch up to your aesthetic. Because when it comes to creating art, or if you're like a person inclined to creating something that's creative, there are two planes. There's the aesthetic plane and there's the skill. And the difference is the aesthetic plane in your head, in how you create
something. I like to refer to that as taste.
Huh?
Like, that's your taste.
Yeah, that's your taste.
Yeah.
The problem is, this always goes up. Always. As your life goes on, your taste will never dip down. Well, maybe from the occasional, whatever. But from I notice it always goes up. Like, that's why if you draw something, if you create something, if you would go back to that, you'd go like, ugh, why did I do that? But the recent stuff you did, yeah, I like this. So aesthetic always goes up, and your skill, if you don't do anything, it just goes straight, or it goes down. But if you're the kind of person who constantly grinds and keep upgrading your skill, it catches up to your aesthetic. So you can draw what you can perceive, because a lot of artists, they have this magnificent thing in their head that they want to draw, but their skill just isn't there.
They just don't have the skill.
They just don't have it. So you have to keep putting it out there, keep pounding at it, just keep chiseling at it.
Yeah, so when you say chiseling at it, just keep doing the work, just keep doing
Yeah.
it. And then try not to focus on perfection.
Because a lot of artists freeze. I've seen a lot of artists, and know a lot of artists, like, should I post this? No, it's not good enough. The problem is, it will never be good enough. Because, going back to Japan, the guy who created the Great Waves of Kanagawa, he's, God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Hokusai.
Okay.
He's the guy who created, like, the Great Waves of Kanagawa, the
yeah,
woodblock print.
Okay.
And I'm paraphrasing, but he's the kind of guy, like, he said, everything I've done below when I was 70 years old is shit.
70 years old.
Yeah. When I'm 80, I would slowly understand the beauty of lines. When I'm 90, I would create, every once in a while, I would find nice. If I'm 100, I'll slowly understand how the world works. When I'm 110, I will create a masterpiece. That guy, that mindset of not being contented with what they make it's kind of romantic and sad at the same time,
Because you can't really achieve the thing that you want to achieve, but it doesn't feel like you can achieve it, or does it? Because you just keep
yeah
keep putting out work, and then it gets better.
Yeah,
but then also your taste also gets. You get what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
also have like better taste.
yeah.
also.
It's a never-ending like marathon of always becoming better as your taste progresses.
But I'm curious, why did you decide to do that? Like, did you just have this light bulb moment and then just thought, yeah, you know what, this is how you get better?
Well, I used to be the kind of the guy who I want to do a lot of things, like jack of all trades, master of none. That's why back in the day I used to like create music. I did podcasts back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I created like the RedHabagat to make videos. And I was like, I could either do a lot and become kind of good at all of them, or I could focus on one thing, pour my heart and soul into it, and so that's what I did. It started out as an experiment, the whole 10,000 hours, how to be a master, and 10,000 hours is actually 2 years. It's not
2 years?
Yeah.
I think it's like, well, I guess you're putting in like 10 hours a day. You said 12 hours a day.
Yeah, but they said like the road to becoming a master is 10,000 hours. So
Yeah.
I was like, hey Siri, like how much is? Oh, my Siri's on. Like how much is like 10,000 hours? Like 10,000 hours is roughly 2 years. I'm like, that's it? That's how it
I
takes.
don't know, like in 24 hours. You mean like?
Yeah. If you would spend
Okay.
24 hours.
Because I remember thinking about the math, and then like, okay, I think it's like 8 hours a day. I forgot, but like I came up with like 10 years.
Oh, was it 10 years or was it 2 years? I suck at math. I'm only good at art, man.
But anyway, no. But the point is, you put the hours in.
You put the hours in, yeah. And that's basically it, man.
So you decided to do that,
Mm.
and then but when you decided to do that, you were already like drawing stuff.
I was. Mediocre stuff that nobody needs to bat an eye. So there was, aside from learning, I needed to improve my taste because like I was like super into like what everybody likes, like good colors, anime, girls with big boobs. But I wanted to be the art guy, and I needed to study people like John Singer Sargent, Norman Rockwell. I recently created a Norman Rockwell piece. I don't know if you
Is
know.
that the one with the pigeons?
Oh, that was 2 days ago. That was a Muka.
Oh, okay, I don't.
So-
So like you named a whole bunch of
Oh,
artists.
okay.
No idea. What
So Muka was the guy who created those Art Nouveau pieces, like like those girls you would see in Paris, like those old school art.
Mhm.
Andy Warhol. Norman Rockwell is the guy who is basically the guy who created like the American aesthetic when it comes to art. Like he's really popular.
His name is actually familiar. I'm sure I've seen. something
You've
of
seen
his.
his art, man. Like
For sure.
Norman Rockwell. So I created like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I did this on Twitch, and I was like, so what made me go to that piece was like, based from what I've learned so far, it's an accumulation of what I learned to create a piece that's really visually appealing. I posted this in like on an art page on Facebook. It got like 3,000 whatever shares. And like, if you add things up, like when it comes to creating this piece, taste, the Norman Rockwell pose where he's looking at a mirror of himself while he's drawing that, it's already visually striking. People already like see that art piece. So that's +1 to how to make an art good. 2, what adds to it is also the gesture work, so it looks really elegant. 3, naked chick. So it's like an amalgamation of things that would make a drawing piece successful. So if you would look at that and a person who doesn't know anything about art, like, why do people like this? It's just a naked chick. But a lot of things go through that. You know, it comes to rendering, texture work, composition, anatomy. So it's the things that I learned along the way.
Did you think about that while you were drawing that piece?
Yeah.
Like no, the 3 things, the Norman Rockwell remix version of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the second thing you mentioned was the gesture work.
The gesture work and
then the
nudity.
The nudity.
It's like the trifecta of what creates a thing really appealing. That's one of the reasons why pinup girls are appealing. Like when you see pinup girls, like or when you see girls in bikinis or girl cosplaying in a really sexy thing, like, why do people like that? Because it caters to our primal thing.
I know why dudes like it.
Yeah. And also girls like it too. Like, I know like a lot of girl cosplayers who like strive for that aesthetic because there's like a beauty to it. That's why like back in the day, the Greeks always drew like naked people in statues and on their cathedrals.
So like it's probably embedded in us.
Yeah,
huh?
it's in our psyche. That's why we're into violence and nudity.
So you were thinking about those 3 things while you were drawing?
Yeah.
Like, so you knew, like
I knew, yeah.
it's interesting. So like, I'm you know how some people, they just draw and whatever comes out, comes out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So is that your approach? Like, there is so one of the videos that I saw of your work is you did like you drew something of Joker.
Oh, dude, yeah, I hated that.
You didn't like that?
No, not at all.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I thought it was so I don't have Twitch,
Yeah.
so I guess I didn't catch it or anything. But you were drawing. The interesting thing about it for me was that there was you were showing your process.
Yeah.
In a way, right? And it started off now. You just drew like colors and then shapes. Like the very beginning of that drawing,
Yeah.
was literally it could have been a silhouette of the Joker, what he was doing.
Yeah. You could like create a Joker just standing there holding a knife. You know, that's the Joker. But the thing is, what makes a composition work, or what makes an art piece work is, if you can create an art piece and it tells a story, you already won. So whenever I'm creating an art piece, like for example the Norman Rockwell one, people see just that one art. They didn't see like 25 other thumbnail sketches I created. Like this, for example. I want to let you see how my mind works. So this is what I do. Is like you would see. This is 12 hours worth of work. I just take an edible and just chew it.
This?
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
So this is time lapse, right?
Yeah.
This is like in a span of 12 hours, just on my table, just drawing a lot of gesture work.
Oh, and there's a lot. You're just deleting stuff.
Thousands of drawing sketches. This is just one day. This is what goes on in my day. Just drawing all kinds of stuff.
So you're drawing, and then just delete it. And drawing, just delete it.
Don't fall in love with your art. Because the moment you fall in love with your art, that's when you lose. Because if you keep on improving, if you keep on creating something and improving upon it, it's a compound over time kind of thing.
Yeah, so, because I must have seen, so this is a time lapse, we're at the 2-hour mark, must have seen at least 10 different drawings now at this point.
On like 30 minutes, I create like 20 artworks like that.
So what are you looking for? It almost looks like you're searching for something.
Yeah, it's just studies basically. So like for example, I created this girl standing. So I was studying how the folds work on a piece of cloth. This girl holding a crowbar, and there's just the backwards drawing of a girl like lying down. So it's just basically learning and refining my art skills. So this, you can see like it's just chaos. It's a lot.
It's almost hypnotic, honestly. Just looking at it, just like
like that.
So now you were not kidding. It's like we're at the 3-hour mark of this.
Oh yeah. That's me. This is how my dailies work. This is one. This is digital. I would spend 3 more hours on my traditional stuff.
Like on a notebook and pen. That's what you mean, traditional stuff.
I have like 2 sketch pads here, man. Because I actually have like a client that wants me to create something. Well, they want me to create like a piece, and it's something that I don't like yet, but I still need to work on it. And like my sketch pad is just filled with scribbles of a madman. Like I don't even show this. So like that, I would spend like 5 hours in a coffee shop just drawing. I'm just insane, just drawing nonstop.
You were not kidding, bhai. Like it's really like volume, huh?
Yeah.
That's almost the secret.
That's the secret. It's just simple. Just keep drawing. That's it. Like there is no magic pill. There is no magical tutorial or magical school that makes you become a better artist. Volume. Create a billion things. Like you know what Bruce Lee said, right? I don't fear a man who has 1,000 punches, but I fear a man who knows how to punch one time. And he trained.
It was kick. I'm just gonna.
Oh, kick.
But
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
Yeah. But
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said, right?
I know, that's true.
So I applied it to my art. That's my kung fu. Art's my kung fu. So
That's so cool, bhai. So when did you start? So you started doing this like 2016, and then I mean like getting serious with it, like legit 10, 12 hours a day. But when did you start getting like the attention of people as an artist? Because I looked online, and then you were like, you have like artwork everywhere. Like you're like sharing it on so many different platforms.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I guess somewhere along the way, Instagram is the one where it just exploded.
It's really fascinating because aside from learning how to draw real good, which I think I reached that, I also learned how to become a mainstream artist. So I did my study, like, what makes a mainstream artist? And it's not about you posting. The only way for you to be popular is for when other people share it. So even when you're asleep, your art gets everywhere. So it came to the point where if I create an art piece, like thousands of people would share it. And that's how you create clout. That's how musicians become popular. Not because they post it, it's because other people post it. Well, mainly because they post it, but that's how it is.
No, but you've been able to find this vein, this you've been able to compel people to share your work.
Yes.
Which is the most difficult thing.
Because the main reason why people share someone's work is if they get something out of it. That's why just recently, oh my god, I'm telling my secrets, is whenever I post an art piece, I just don't go, naked girl, that JPEG, here it is. But if you have something that goes along with it and talk to a person like you're talking to them one-on-one, like, hey, I know how hard it is to be an artist. Sometimes you need to take a break. It's okay to feel inadequate at times, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a words of wisdom along with my art piece.
Yeah, like, every time you post an art piece, there is this legit caption that you've thought about.
Yeah.
That you've... It's interesting to me because, like, so a lot of times when artists, they don't like that side of the coin of being an artist, which is by the way a reality at this point.
Yeah.
Like the whole marketing part of it.
Oh yeah.
Right? And the truth is that it's kind of a requirement today.
Yeah, because that's part of the business. You're putting yourself out there, and one of the main things that makes an artist successful is who they are. It's not what they do. Of course, it's also what they put out. It's like, it's one of the like, there's this guy called Basquiat. He used to be Andy Warhol found him. Andy Warhol, the guy who made a Campbell soup can.
Yeah.
So Basquiat was basically a bum. He was a heroin addict. He was a black guy, and he wasn't a really good artist. But what sets him apart from other really amazing artists was Andy Warhol advertised him as a guy who was from the streets of New York. He was living in the slums. He took heroin every day, and Andy Warhol was like, he's got a soul. And Basquiat grew because people were like, oh, Basquiat, he's a genius, even though his art is shit. It's basically graffiti. So going back to who I am, like I'm like the guy who grew up with Bob Ross. I've got a Bob Ross shirt on.
Yeah.
That painter's gonna paint. So that's kind of what's missing in the world, So I was like drinking my tanduay at night. I'm like, what's missing in this world? It's basically people are struggling to become better artists, but not a lot of artists are out there telling other artists that it's okay, relax, don't be so hard on yourself, hydrate, people love you. So I want to spread that positivity in art, So whenever people go to me, they get something in return. They feel really good about reading my wall post, and they look at my art, and it's gestural, and it's sexualized, but not too sexualized. There's art
It's
in
not
that.
like lewd.
Yeah.
It's not porn.
Yeah. So it's also a marketing aspect that I discovered, because if I would just draw lewd stuff, big boobs, anime titties, it would cater majority to the male demographic.
Uh-huh.
So I needed to find a way to attract the female demographic. So it's like, I'm also thinking about that aesthetic. So going back to the aesthetic, your taste. So I noticed like, why I go to art pages that women like there's this artist Loish. She's from, oh my god, I don't know, from a European country. She's really good, and her art piece is really nice. And I noticed a lot of women like her art. I'm like, why is that? It's really flowy and gestural, and it's tasteful. So I'm like, that's the umami that I was like, I was missing. So I applied that to my art, and yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. You're right, because so I'm looking at your feed. In fact, one of the things that struck me almost right away was that, there are no men.
Yeah.
I don't know. I scroll. There's no men on the feed.
Oh, it's weird. Like, majority of the people who commission me to do art pieces for them are men.
But your art is very complimentary to women.
It is. It's really body positive,
Yeah, it's not like you were mentioning, if we draw somebody with big boobs, that's not necessarily.
No, it just goes towards the really in the primal spectrum, which is sex. Everybody's thinking about that. That just goes towards it. But if you just go down that route, there's also a route that other artists are there. They also thrive, by the way. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah. So there are artists like there's this guy called Shadman. He's like the darkest of the dark. He draws all the weirdest shit that would make the internet go, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh,
but
I'm afraid to Google.
Don't. But he's also in that spectrum of the artist. So I'm trying to be the artist that goes to all the spectrum of what everybody likes. It's sexual in a way, artistic. That's why I often quote other great artists like John Singer Sargent, and I also cater to the feminine side and the masculine side. So I'm basically getting all the you
found your little niche.
Basically,
right?
Basically.
So what made you? At what point? Wait, I'm making an assumption. One assumption is this is what you do for a living. So at what point did you like? When was the point where you were like, oh, I can do this. This is how I can make.
This month.
What really?
Yeah.
What really?
Yeah, like I did this project in 2016 Driver Day just to see whatever. Where I don't know where this goes. Let's just see what happens. So I did, and all of a sudden, my name is getting out there. Like, I'm being followed by people from Marvel, people from Disney, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is something." Like, I can't post anything. I usually post it, and we're like, "Yeah, this dog died," because like I get in trouble now. I'm at that part of my life wherein, okay, so last year there was this Inktober.
Yeah,
it's basically you draw every day for October, and you create art. And I posted something about Hong Kong, being amazing people for standing up to China. Like, I didn't know I had like followers from China, so like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So 300 Chinese people messaged me, and I'm like, oh shit, like, oh.
No way, really?
Yeah, and they unfollowed me on Instagram. Like, you should know your facts before you post something like that. I'm like, ish, I can't post anything I want anymore. So I stay away from politics altogether because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I've got like viewers in China. When I went to Taiwan, though, it was really like, like, oh, Philtomato, you're coming to Taiwan. So I met a fan there and I gave him an art piece.
So take note, it's February 1 right now. So like you're basically saying that today you realize you could do this for a living.
Yeah. It's because recently, in order to become an artist, not only do you need to be well known, you need to create a community. It's really weird. Nobody talks about this because let's just say Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. Kobe has a community, right? Like he helps people in sports, and Joe Rogan has a community. Andy Warhol, the artist we were talking about earlier, has a community. Every single big artist out there who put themselves out there has a community. So right now, I have a community. I have a Discord. Like it's a place where people talk. Artists from all over the world, they come in there. Like I have like over 300 now there, and they talk about art. And they post their art, and I try to make it a place where people can they just pump each other up. Like, don't keep going. It's a community where people help each other to remind them that they're good. And that's it.
So I noticed when you're doing like the Inktober, like you were selling prints, diba? Of those specific like Inktober.
Yeah, I'm selling originals actually.
Oh yeah, originals.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Wait, sorry. What do you mean originals versus prints? Like your art, diba?
Yeah, like for example, from the sketchpad, right? I create an art piece there, and people, someone from Ukraine would be like,
oh, like the actual.
Yeah. So
it's not a print, like it's the actual drawing.
The actual drawing. So it's a big thing in whatever it is I do. Every Inktober, I sell everything. So I sell, since I need shipment, I would sell like for each art piece for like $200 or less. Then I would send it to them, and usually I would sell most of it. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I remember looking at the Inktober once, and then I was like, oh wow, it's like it's almost sold out.
I should have brought you one, man. You should have reminded. I could have given you an art piece.
Oh, no, well, thank you.
If ever we meet again, I'd give you one.
Oh, cool. But yeah, so is that like one way? How are you doing it? Because is that like one of the reasons for this podcast is to figure out, or is to show other people who want to be an artist, who want to be doing something like you.
Yeah.
Like the actual specifics, like how do you do it? So that's one way. You're selling the actual, the original artwork, right? You mentioned, I think it was off the air though, like you're doing some work, like some artwork for like a gaming thing.
Yeah.
So is it just like different sources of revenue?
Yeah. Okay, if you want to be... Okay, let's break it down.
Sure.
If you want to be a successful artist, step 1. Grow your name. Post at least 4 times a week. Don't be lazy. And don't fall in love with your art. Step 2. Do that every day. Step 3. Do that every day as long as you can. That's all you need to do. Just focus on growing your name, and selling your art will organically be easy.
So these opportunities just popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, because when my name was out there and it keeps growing, one of the best things for a person to invest time on is themselves. Because you would spend time, because I've been working with people back in the day, like I would draw for them for years, way back. And like after the project's done, all right, thank you, Phil, here's your paycheck, goodbye. That's 4 years of my life gone, And
your name wasn't out there.
My name wasn't out there, and my artwork's there, but they didn't credit me because that's just how the business works. But if you would have spent those 2 years just focusing on you, that's like a save point. When you have a game, you could take it with you. That's how I usually see it. Because if you invest time on yourself instead of investing your talent for other people, it's a time not,
No,
Not
dili
wasted.
sayang. Dili sayang.
Mm.
Like, because you're kind of like investing. That's true. You're investing in your name.
Yes.
You're over time that gets more known,
Exactly.
more opportunities
Yeah.
come up, as opposed to, like, I think in a way that's a lot of that's the struggle for like freelancers. A lot of freelancers, why? Because they'll do work for somebody, but then at the end of the day, nobody knows
Yeah. That's
that
how
they
you.
did the work.
That's how you create the burn, man. A lot of artists burn out because they do work for things they're not passionate about. And that's what makes people like, this isn't worth it. Because they would spend time not on themselves, but on other people's shit. That's really sad, though. So, it's better to aim high and miss than aim low and hit.
That's true.
Yeah.
So if you miss, then it's not the end of the world.
It's not. You can move on. Brush
Yeah.
yourself off and try again. TLC, am I right? Oh no, Aaliyah. Shit. Sorry.
TLC, what?
What? No, it's Aaliyah. Sorry, airplane crash.
Yeah, and then so like I noticed like because you've been doing a lot of different things. You have a Patreon. You've been doing Twitch. I even saw like you're selling a tutorial.
Yeah, on QBrush, I'm selling tutorials and I'm making a webtoon. I'm making a comic book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called Old Man and the Mermaid, and it's on webtoon. It's also one way. Like I want to really tell a story about this old man who found a mermaid. You know, like I already made like 28 episodes, and this is the recent one I made like last month, and it's like 50 pages of colored art piece that I created, and it's just a lot.
You know, I have a friend who has a webtoon. His name's John Amore.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name. It's really good. I'm
Yeah?
blanking on the name of his actual webtoon.
Yeah.
That's a new, like, the first time I saw
it's a
webtoon.
thing. Yeah,
was
it basically came from Korea. It's called manhwa.
okay.
Yeah, and then the world noticed like, hey, Koreans watch, so like comics on their phones, so they actually created like a comic that you could scroll.
So you're doing all these different things.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of things, so that's why I drink. Basically.
So how do you find out about all of these things? Like because I think part of it, like if you're like a struggling artist and you just don't know,
Yeah.
you don't know what to do.
Yeah, the thing is, you can't make diamonds without pressure. So if you're a struggling artist, good. Because if you have an artist and you have money, you're not gonna do anything. You gotta be afraid to wake up one morning and like, shit, where do I find the money? So that's one of the reasons why I'm also striving to become better. Because if you're better, you're more marketable and more people hire you. So that's one of the things that nip at the back of my neck, Like, you're not good enough. You should do more stuff. Like, I should do more stuff. So I just do a lot more stuff.
That's what I was telling my friend. Like, I have a friend, and then he did not. Growing up was a bit difficult for him.
Yeah.
His didn't have that much money and everything. But I told him, you know what? In a way, that's an advantage for you because it forces you to strive.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. Because if life's too easy on you, if it's really easy to get water, you will never strive. That's why the world is really comfortable right now. You would see like on the internet, recreational outrage.
What do you mean?
Recreational outrage.
Oh
is,
yeah. People
It's like,
posting
look
on
at
Twitter.
this. This is awful.
Oh my god, I
my-
am so
Yeah,
flabbergasted.
like look at the virus. It's awful. Like that's all they do every day is find something to complain about. Like look at what this person said. We should cancel him, dude. Just fight a bear. Like get some water from miles away. Survive.
Is that what happened to you? Like, Anthony, how did you how did you manufacture, or how did you have that sense of, hardship?
I lost our home actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I was in college one day, and my mom was like, "Phil, aris balay." And I was like, "Why? Ari lang." Then I went to a house and everybody was packing up. Like we just got a long story, like business side. So we lost our home and we transferred to a place where I wasn't used to. Like it's so uncomfortable. Everything's damp, really hard. Like it came to a point where we didn't have any money and I had to sell Coke bottles. Oh man, this is like a Maalala Mo Kaya episode. But it came to a point where me and my sister would take Coke bottles and we would give it to the tindahan ba, so I could get 10 pesos back. Like, yole 10 pesos. So I would use it to go to San Carlos. And that happened.
Way, really?
Yeah. So that happened to me and my sister.
That's rough. Like that's like when you have a certain level of like living, like you're used to a certain thing, and it's
all of a
taken
sudden,
away.
Boom, everything's gone. So I was like this whiny kid, like, Dad, what the fuck is going on? Where's my computer? And that was like the Phil I really hated back in the day, because my dad would be like, quiet, you, like, stop crying. This is only temporary. Even though
that's cool. At least your dad was like, had that sense.
Yeah. He was like, he was like the guy who told me, like, don't cry. It's normal. It happens. And my sister would be like, don't show yourself crying to Dad because it disturbs him. Like, you should be strong. So I was like weak really back in the day, and I just saw, I could either be a liability or help out in the family. So I was like, God, I really like drawing though, but how do you can't survive as an artist. There's a reason why there's a word called starving artist. And I was like, so I did some calculations. How do I become exceptional? So I listened to people like, there's this guy in Taiwan, in Korea, Kim Jong-gi. He draws as much as I do now, but he's way ahead of me, like 20 years ahead, so he's really good. And there's this guy, James Jean. He said something that really resonated with me. He said, I wasn't the best artist, but I was the only one who could put 16 hours in a day. So I'm like, I'm a slow learner. So the only way for me to reach a level of excellence is to spend a god-awful amount of hours every day, do the stuff. So yeah, that's me now, man.
So this was when you were in college, I guess?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
So right now I'm supporting my family, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm supporting my family all by myself. I still hate my sister though, because she has like, sorry sis, I love you, but she has like an afam. And she's in Switzerland skiing, and she's vegan. I fucking hate it. If you hear this, fuck you. I love you.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So in a way, in many ways, that is an advantage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that hunger.
Yeah. Really hungry.
It would be like real hunger.
Oh yeah. Like there would be a time where I would go to a friend's house to eat, and I would pretend, hey, let's hang out. I just wanted to eat.
You didn't really like this friend. You're just like, yeah, he's
No, I love him now.
I'm kidding.
I still do. Like, they still think I'm really annoying. Like, Phil. But
oh, boy. Yeah. It's like, a lot of times, like that stoic idea, that stoicism idea, where you kind of have to if you reach a certain level, like you're comfortable. And then that's how people, sometimes they lose it. Sometimes that's how people lose it. They lose that edge.
Yeah.
So they have to manufacture that hardship.
Yeah. Because it's human instinct to be comfortable when there's food in the fridge and there's a nice comfy bed. It's basically a survival thing. If you've got a comfortable place, don't leave. It's because your body's comfortable and it's not doing anything. And your body's answer to that, if you don't have any food, is you better fucking stand up and spear that buffalo there. Get some water. So that's how it translates to skill. So it's basically digital hunting.
So is that what fueled you, good? Like, because like, you in you're saying you work for like 10, 12 hours, just drawing, and you showed me already a video that was basically
a time lapse.
Yeah, like sped up, but it was
30-minute time lapse.
No, that was 3 hours.
Oh, that was 3 hours.
Yeah, man. You were just pressing the thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't focus for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I know, I'm like one of those guys, I'll be working.
Yeah.
And then I realize, I'm just scrolling through different windows now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm at my limit. I need to make myself a coffee or something, give myself a break.
There's this, there's also in my pursuit to become a machine of just drawing, there was a time where I really hated to draw. Like 30 minutes, what am I doing? I should just open up fucking Steam and play some games, Or I need to go out and get some coffee. But I needed to tap in this state. It's called flow. A state of flow is something I tap into every night. Like, I have a ritual. Like, I nap for 10 minutes or 20. I would wake up at 1 a.m. or 12 a.m. All right, let's do this. Have a cup of coffee, sit down, and just mindlessly, you saw it, right? Mindlessly sketching.
Mm-hmm.
And my brain just tunnel visions and shuts down. I would draw for 1 a.m. and I would look out the window, it's already 9 a.m. Oh shit.
So that's how you get into it.
Yeah, I go into a state of flow. My brain shuts down. I think that's an ADHD kind of thing.
State of flow is great. I only experienced something like that. In a sense, I'm not that good, but playing basketball, for example, there are times when everything's just working.
Mm.
You're not going over your skill level. You're in that that area where you're doing the right things in the zone.
Yeah.
And that's when I've felt the most in flow.
Yeah.
In that sense.
If you do something and every time you do it, you go in a state of flow, it's probably your brain telling you hey, let's do this. Let's do this every day.
But it's hard to manufacture though.
You don't manufacture it. It just comes to you. Whenever you're doing something and it just feels right and comfortable doing it, it's easy, I guess. But you have to do it. You have to be a drug addict. How it takes 21 days to start a habit?
Uh-huh.
You need to do that constantly.
Mm.
So once you become addicted to it by doing it every single day, it becomes easier.
So it doesn't happen to you, you do your ritual, you take that nap, you make a coffee, you start drawing and erasing and drawing and erasing. But are there nights when it's not happening?
No.
Really?
No, never happens. You could ask my friends. I'm just in that place, I guess.
You can get there.
I get there, yeah.
That's interesting.
But
are you doing anything different aside from doing that little ritual, or really just that's it?
Well,
you're just powering through.
Powering through. It hurts. I don't my fingers deformed a little bit from drawing too much, and it hurts every time. But just power through it, man. Because if I don't create anything every day, I lose my mind. I can't sleep. So if I can't make an art today, I'll make 2 art the next day.
Mm.
It's a habit, basically. Oh man, I used to be addicted to cigarettes back in the day. I used to smoke 2 packs a day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, dude. When it was cheap. And now, when I looked at prices, Marlboro is 100 pesos. Jesus Christ. I bought 15 sticks back in the day for 21 pesos.
So you quit?
I quit.
You quit because it was expensive?
That, and it was horrible for me.
Oh yeah, it was horrible for you. I could have told you that.
Yeah. I would wake up every day and fuck, my lungs are all crusted up, and I would touch my sides, what the fuck is this? It's my lungs are all dried up, and every time I would breathe, it would crack, oh shit, this is not right. So I just quit.
Oh, I'm glad you quit, bae.
Thank you.
You're gonna see your art in my feed, a lot more.
It is.
No? Oh, that is, I think that must be your superpower, in a way.
It's not a superpower. A lot of people do it. If you would look at artists like Post Malone, he gets into the state of flow. I'm a huge Post Malone fan. And,
no, but a lot of artists get into the state of flow, but sometimes it's just not there. I don't know. Like
Well, you don't. Okay, so talent, habit is there when talent fails you. A lot of artists bank on them being talented, and they just, I'm gonna create when I'm, when I feel like it. But if you create a habit, it doesn't care if you don't feel like doing it. Fucker, wake up, let's do this shit. Just it's like a jock way of looking at it, but that's how it is.
No, but yeah, that's. How do you not get tired of it?
I sleep just like everybody else.
No, but so. So I used to write. So Zerothreetwo started off as this blog,
Yeah.
and then I committed to writing. I think it was like 500 words a day or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, bahala na if it's good, if it's bad, get that out there, and then if something good comes out of it, great. Edit it up, and then I can publish it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then it just got to a point where it was just a grind.
Yeah, it started off as that. Like, the brain does what it does if it gets that dopamine hit. That's why Facebook is really popular. If you post something, you get a like, boom, it's like a heroin shot of dopamine. So, if you can find a way when you're creating whatever it is you love, and you get rewarded from it by validation and people admiring what you do, it's a dopamine. Like, oh shit, I should do this because people. It's how humans as a tribe became as successful as it is. Because everybody works together, and if people like, hey, I like Steve over there carrying the sticks, you're a good guy, Steve, and like, oh shit, I'm doing my part in society. So you do it over and over again. It's tiring, but you get through it. You get what I mean?
Yeah. So you get like the validation. So wait, so you're able to feed off that?
You tap into that.
Huh.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
So that when you post something on Instagram, and I don't know, like you're I don't know if I have it here, but like you get like 1,000 plus,
Yeah.
2,000 plus likes or something. You
Yeah,
know?
I got like people from Marvel like, hey man, I really like what you do. Keep doing what you do. Like, oh my god, like J. Scott Campbell, who made like those Amazon women on Marvel, just messaged me, and the guy who made Lilo and Stitch, and I was like, hey, you stole my art style. I like it. Like,
Really?
yeah, like, oh shit, thank you, man. This guy from Cebu just fucking does whatever.
So, what is that like? Like,
Surreal,
uh-huh.
extremely weird.
That would be like Michael Jordan messaging me and saying, "Carl, I really like your jump shot.
I like your, I like your knees." Or
yeah.
That's basically it. Like, oh shit. So, it's like, it feels like if you're in the Philippines, sadly, you're like a tadpole in a pond, right? And you don't know there's like an entire fucking lake over there. That's where everybody is. And all of a sudden, the big fish from there, like, oh shit, see that tadpole there? Like, holy shit, it's weird. It's like I didn't know that world existed, and I thought they were unreachable. And that also drove me like, oh shit, I'm in this area now where I could reach them and I could talk to them. And yeah.
And that's true. There's like a lot of like Filipino artists who have legitimate jobs.
Yeah.
At, all these like a Marvel or a DC.
Yeah, man. Like I met like the guy Arman Serrano. Like he's a Filipino guy. I go to Manila, and he's got like Icon Manila, and he talks about how it was like working at Pixar, and it just when I was there, and I was like all giddy, like, oh shit, like I'm with these people, and when I went home, I just fucking drew for 24 hours straight, and I just collapsed.
Is that something that you would do? Like if somebody from like a Pixar or a Marvel or something like that say, hey, bye, I have this project, let's do it.
First of all, how much does it pay?
I would assume well.
if we would like put food on the table and make my parents really comfortable, and they would just not work anymore and be happy and just listen to some music while I'm working, and they're happy over there. That's pure bliss for me, man. Just seeing my parents happy, I could draw forever.
Man, I really think like you have a well of like this never-ending hunger in a way,
Um,
which I find like I don't have that. I don't have that. Like I can grind it out, but like I'll be like, all right, it's 5 o'clock. Time to hang out with my kids and watch a movie. You know?
Yeah. I guess you need to find that way of finding that drive, but you can only find it if you do it for 21 days, for 12 hours a day. Your brain. Here's what I learned from doing art all the time. Your brain is like a muscle. I notice like when I. All right, so I don't know if it's legal. Let's just say I kind of took some edibles. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. And when I take that, it's I would go to a state of flow fast, and I would discover things that I wouldn't normally think of it. Okay, this is now an edible podcast. Let me just drugs are bad. Don't take it. From what I've heard is my friend told me that think of your brain like it's like a ski slope, you know. And if you would be on the top of the mountain, you would see tracks.
Oh, I like this analogy. I've heard this. Yeah.
You've
Keep
heard
going.
this?
Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah?
Like if you take LSD banana or something,
Yes.
and then the idea is so your brain is a mountain, and then you ski this one route all the time.
over and over because it's comfortable and
and then the snow gets so there. After a while, there's a track there. There's
you
a
get
path,
used to it.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
You take. I don't know the specifics. You
Yeah.
take an LSD,
An edible.
an edible. Okay,
Yeah.
you take an edible, and then snow falls, and then the tracks are covered. And
Like,
you get
where
to
do I
choose.
go? Where do I go? So all of a sudden, like, I could think like the people, like how the masters would think. I could see how forms are shaped. Before I could just draw a stick man, but nowadays I could create it in such a way. Let me show you. Like I could create it in such a way. Like I could just create a female body like this, right? And whenever I draw a head, I could already see the entire body and the pose in the background.
I noticed that with your drawings. Like there are no outlines.
No outlines.
You're just
Yeah,
it just comes out.
Yeah, I could start from the knuckles, like that, and I could put it there, and I would create the torso. You just create it, because whenever I put down one line, I could see everything now. So
that is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and whenever I would make the pose, I could create a story, and I would apply the things I told earlier, like storytelling when it comes to creating art, lighting, color, and everything. And it gets easier the more you do it often enough. And yeah,
Because when I was a kid, and then I got somebody gave me this book, like how to draw cartoons.
yeah,
And then it was like, okay, you start off, you draw a small circle and then a big circle, and then that's like the silhouette of the head.
yeah,
You
yeah.
put the nose there, and
Yeah.
then eventually you erase that circle.
Yeah.
But you're not drawing that way. You're like,
No, I draw on ambient occlusion.
what does that mean?
Okay, so the thing about lines is, oh my god, I sound pretentious, but lines are limiting. The thing about it is when you draw something, things are not made up with lines. It's if you draw a line, you're basically creating the silhouette of the object. Like basically, if you see the shadow of a rabbit and put an outline around the shadow, that's not the entire rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the shape of it, like the idea, the icon of what it is to be a rabbit, But I discovered a way to draw things how the world is. This is like, oh, dude, like edible talk. But if you draw an ambient occlusion, you draw on shadows. You draw how light affects everything. So basically, if you draw an ambient occlusion, you draw the shadow underneath objects. Like, for example, underneath your laptop, there's really heavy shadow down there.
Uh-huh.
So if you would draw the darker shadows instead of the idea of the rock, things look more realistic. Like if I show you, let's draw a rock, right? Like to everybody listening to this, I'm showing how to draw a rock. So people normally would just draw a rock. This is a rock, right?
Yeah.
But if you would focus on the shadows first, right? Like the shadows hitting the rock, and making the lines around, like for example, there's light hitting here. You make the light, the outline there thinner, and make it darker on the spots where you want the shadows to hit, it becomes far more realistic as opposed to the
yeah,
idea.
a lot
of it.
more interesting,
Yeah.
though. Like,
And if you-
visually interesting.
Yeah, and if you would apply that to everything, and you would focus on the darker parts, and you draw a face of a man, for example, and you just focus on the shadow, like he's wearing like a jacket, you know. If you would understand things the way shadow hits, like this part is like shadows, things would look more realistic. So if you would tap into that mindset of like the things you draw are just made up of ambient occlusion shadows, you get to see the world as it truly is, and your drawing becomes much more realistic. My drawings are simplified right now, but this is another thing that I haven't revealed to the people, that I'm seriously studying on this. So that time will come that I will apply it to my art. It's gonna be another level entirely. So
even then, you're still always learning, always getting better.
always, man.
Phil, we've been talking about for an hour already.
Wait, it's been over an hour?
Yeah, man.
Jeez.
Like, I think it could go. It's really interesting to me, especially. I mean, I wish we had video in a way, because like it's really cool when you're discussing it and then you're drawing at the same time.
Yeah.
No? So I mean, just to recap, to become a better artist, work your ass off.
Work your ass off. Work harder than Kobe, basically.
Which is like crazy.
Which is because Kobe's running around and you're just sitting there. Kobe's working harder than you. Rest in peace,
Kobe was like grabe. But when that happened, I was like,
it was surreal, right?
I was on my phone.
It happened
I
like
was
10,
scrolling.
10 p.m. or like something like
I
that.
don't know, like I just woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, like I just finished breakfast, and like right before getting up, I was like, "Oh, check my phone."
It's Kobe, right?
And then, like, what? This can't be real. And
it's
then I was
unreal.
I was in the breakfast area by myself. I need to tell somebody. I need to be like, I got up, and then my wife was on her way down to bring her kids to school.
Yeah.
And I called up with her. I was like, Steph, Kobe died. She's like, what? Are you like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I just, but it was weird because I felt compelled to share it with another person.
Yeah.
No? Because, I don't know, eh?
He's a part of, that's how it is to be an influencer, I guess. Like, you influence people so much that your passing really touched a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't even like a huge Kobe fan. Like,
same. I'm an artist, man. I don't know basketball. Like, oh shit, Kobe died. It was just really surreal. I thought he was like untouchable. I thought he would live 200 years old, you know? And for that to happen to just anyone, it's just really sad.
Yeah. Well, anyway, White, thanks for doing this.
Sorry to end it on a really sad note, though. Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. Like, let's talk about fun stuff, but let's talk about it some other time, I guess.
What, anything you're working on right now? Anything that you want to plug?
No, not right now, but you'll see my drawing every day if you just visit my Instagram, I guess.
Yeah, that's where they can find you, right?
Yeah, that's where they
Philtomato.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to link to it in the show notes. Anywhere else online?
The Art of Philtomato on Facebook. Twitch, Philtomato.
How often do you Twitch? Do you stream?
I try to make it every day because I already do every day. Might as well, stream it.
So when you're doing it, are you like talking at the same time?
Yeah, I'm talking like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm talking to faceless people, and I just see their comments, and I just talk.
And then you just you're whatever you're saying is you're basically reacting to the discussion.
Yeah, and they'd be like, "Draw a dead kiwi," and I'm like, "All right, do you want this?" And I would show it to them, and they'd be like, "Yeah, he drew a dead kiwi," and it's basically interacting with them.
That's cool. Like that's what's so cool right now at this. I'm gonna sound like a really old person, but at this day and age,
yeah,
like I only I got into this Hearthstone, like that game, this video game called Hearthstone.
Oh yeah.
And then I realized, like in YouTube, like there's so many gamers just streaming their games, just talking to people.
That's the sense of community, man.
More like
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it was
man.
really fun.
Sige.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Phil Bawasanta. Phil, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, for sharing. I felt like a lot of like little tips and tricks of what's made you the artist that you are today. So thanks so much. Thank you, Cube Gallery and Destination Specialists, for sponsoring the podcast. The music from this podcast is Piano March by Audionautics. And like I said, if you want to support the podcast, consider supporting us on patreon.com/Zerothreetwo. All you need is a credit card or a PayPal account and your game. You can do it. Or if you want, you can go to the Assembly Online. That's assembly.zerothreetwo.com. We've got 032 merchandise up there for sale. And if you decide to get something 032 merchandise, I'll give you a 20% discount if you use the promo code CONVERSATIONS. Conversations. That's conversations with an S. And we appreciate it. And everybody who buys our stuff, we appreciate it. Patreon members, we appreciate it. Even if you simply share this episode online, we appreciate it. We keep on keeping on. Yeah? Come here. I'm inside. Here, you want to talk on the microphone? You want to talk on the microphone? Come here. Yeah, it's okay. What do you want to say?
No.
What do you want to say? Say something.
I don't know what to hold.
Maybe you want to sing?
No.
What do you want to do?
There's a microphone in this room.
Yeah.
I'm just like a monster.
See, monster sound right now. You scared so many people. One more time. Okay. Next week, another episode. Bye.